Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Raceface TV. I'm your host, Rod Wortham, and if you notice that we're kind of missing somebody tonight, and we just wanted to put a shout out to Katie. Katie was able to get a new job really in the field that she was looking for to work in at iHeartRadio, so we're really, really proud of her. And Katie, if you're watching, we wish you the best of luck. We've got an exciting show lined up for you tonight. We're going to be visiting a couple of young brothers out in Joplin, Missouri, and then we're going to be going to Tom Baker out in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going to talk a little bit about the big news yesterday. And of course, that big news is the retirement of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And then we've got another gentleman that we're going to, a young driver up in Michigan that we're going to be visiting, Nate Jenkins. So we got a jam-packed show for you. I wanted to get started with announcing the winner of our die-cast car of the club, our die-cast car of the club month winner. His name is Billy Lewis. Billy, congratulations. Let me talk a little bit about the car that you actually won. The whole idea of this was to be able to share die-cast cars with our young viewers that you may have never seen before. And so this week's car was a Michael Waltrip car, the number 21, the Wood Brothers Special, but it was the Star Trek car. So this was one of the first cars ever to run a specialty paint scheme on, and this one was done by Star Trek. So congratulations, Billy. I encourage the rest of you to try out for next week's car. It's going to be something really, really cool that you may have never seen before at all. But just really go to our Facebook page, like our page, and share it with people, and then you're automatically entered into our die-cast Car of the Week program. So right now, we're going to go out to Joplin, Missouri, where we have two young brothers. We have Collin and Blane Dumas. Hi, guys.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
You're two good-looking race car drivers is what I got to say, man. Well, welcome to our show.
What?
I said, welcome to our show.
Thank you. I'm very excited for this.
You're very excited for that. Well, great. So I'm just going to share with the viewing audience a little bit about you guys. Now, Collin, you're 6 years old. Is that right?
7 now.
You're 7 now. Oh, my gosh, he's aged since we got the application in. And then, Blane, you're 11. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, here, I want to tell you a little bit about these guys. First of all, Collin, I saw some statistics on you. You had 12 wins in 2016?
Yes.
You did? Well, can you tell us how that feels like? Is that like the best feeling in the world is to get into victory lane?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
It's pretty exciting. So what kind of car do you race? Tell me a little bit about your car.
It's a Phantom chassis go-kart, and it's very fast.
So who's faster, you or Blane?
Well, one time I went out there and raced him, and I beat him because his go-kart wasn't running right, like the gas, like it was pretty fair, but he did beat me.
He did beat you. Well, that's going to happen for a team. He's got less weight, though. Is that right?
Yes, he does.
He does. Okay, that's very cool. So Blane, let's talk a little bit about you. I understand you are a back-to-back champion.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the type of kart that you drive.
I also race a Phantom, and whenever I won those championships, that was insane because I won a 6-foot trophy, and it was pretty exciting.
Well, very cool. So, and I also understand that you're an A student in school. Is that right?
Yes, I get straight A's.
You get straight A's. Very good. Is that a deal that you kind of got with your mom, that if you get straight A's, you get to keep racing?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, let me tell you something. Make sure you stay on that path because, you know, being a successful race car driver is a lot more than just being able to drive the car. You got to be a good spokesperson, and you got to be able to talk well and be able to represent your sponsors, right? Do you guys have any sponsors?
Yes, it's our Glen Yarborough Otter Sales in Joplin, and he's my mom and dad, my nana, and actually Glen Yarborough Otter Sales is my great uncle.
Oh, well, that's cool. And then I also saw that you have a Town and Country Mobile Homes. Is that right?
Yes, that is my grandma and grandpa.
That's your well, it sounds like this is definitely a family organization and a family group, and that's what racing is all about. So I got to just ask you one quick question. We only got a couple more minutes here before we go out to break. So what is it like? What's it like to live in Joplin, Missouri?
It is a very changing climate. We actually didn't have any snow. It was actually like a Florida summer. I mean, a Florida winter. We didn't have any snow. It was warm the entire time, and now we're getting all the cold. And on Christmas Day, it was actually like 70 degrees, right? Yeah.
Wow. Would you guys go swimming?
No, we didn't go swimming. It was still like windy and kind of chilly.
Well, okay.
Actually, what we did on Christmas Day is we got hoverboards for Christmas and we rode them all day long. Yeah.
All right. That sounds pretty cool. So now there's a famous NASCAR driver from your town, right?
Yes.
And what's his name?
Jamie McMurray.
Jamie McMurray. Are you guys Jamie McMurray fans?
Yes. We are pretty big Jamie McMurray fans.
Well, that's pretty cool. I like Jamie. Jamie's a great guy. Now, let me ask you something. What are your goals? So when you're 18 years old, where do you want to be at in your racing careers?
I want to be either in NASCAR, but I really, really want to race a sprint car.
A sprint car. Wow, that's pretty cool. So you like the dirt track racing?
Yes.
Well, that sounds really good. Well, guys, I'll tell you what, we're getting ready to go off to our commercial. I want to thank you guys for being on the show with us, and good luck to you in the 2016 series. And don't be surprised if we call you later in the year, have you back on so you can tell us about the great season that you had.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, guys, take care. We'll see you soon.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, everybody, we're finished with our first segment, so we're going to be going out to commercial break. When we come back, we're going to be going out to Charlotte, North Carolina, Mr. Tom Baker, and we're going to be talking about Dale Jr. So we'll be right back with you.
81% of consumers search online before even setting foot in a store. We help you create a strong foundation for your digital reputation. We help build your online presence to improve search engine rank and make sure your business information is correct across the web. You could do all of this on your own, but why would you spend more than 300 hours a year working on this? You have a business to run. Save time and put our software to work for you.
The Edge, Fridays at noon. If you're an entrepreneur looking for cutting-edge information, tips, tricks, secrets, expert interviews, it's all here at The Edge. Anything you need to build your business, this is the show to listen to. It's The Edge. Check us out Fridays at noon.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Man, what an exciting first segment of the show. The Dumas brothers from Joplin, Missouri. And to be truthful with you, that's what Raceface TV is all about. I mean, where can you go and talk to a 7 and 11-year-old racers that have huge dreams about making it to the top? So again, Dumas boys, thanks for being on the show. And right now, we're going to talk about probably maybe the biggest news of the year, I'm pretty sure, in racing. So we're going to go out to my good friend Tom Baker in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tom, how are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic. How you guys doing?
We're good, man. So, I mean, gosh, were you shocked as I was yesterday?
You know, I actually wasn't, to be honest with you. I almost expected this to happen at some point during this season. I was a little surprised it happened this early. I was at NASCAR. I covered NASCAR Media Week for us, and I happened to be there when Dale Jr. did his press conference at Media Week before the season started in January. And I just kind of had the feeling from things that he was saying and things that, you know, that he didn't say. It just kind of gave me that feeling that he was really torn about getting back into the race car, not because he wasn't excited to get back and race again, but I think I really felt like there was a part of him that understood his situation from the big picture perspective. And so I felt like, because the main point that he seemed to want to make then and that he made yesterday was, I wanted to go out on my own terms, I really felt like there was a pretty good chance that we were going to get this announcement, but I figured it would be later in the season. I just really felt going into the year that unless he just came out and knocked the lights out and won bunches of races, won the title and all of that, that he probably would stop at the end of the year. That's really what I felt coming out of that press conference. So the fact that they announced it so quickly was kind of interesting, but I think it has probably more to do with giving the team the most amount of time to really sit down and take their time and find the right replacement for him. And I think it gets it out of the way for Junior so he could just focus on racing the rest of the year. But wasn't really surprised, just surprised at the timing. But this is going to be very big for the sport in so many ways, this announcement.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, I guess for myself yesterday, it did catch me a little bit off guard. I knew it was probably going to be the next year, 2 years, maybe 3 at the longest. But I think probably the reason that they did go out and announce that is to give, you know, Junior Nation the opportunity to be able to show their thanks and gratitude and everything to him as he continues out the rest of the season. And the same thing with the tracks. But you know what? It was kind of funny. I can remember when Junior ran his first, back then it was the Busch Series. And I think the very first track race that he ever ran was in St. Louis. And I can remember setting in to get my credentials, and I heard the lady behind the credential trailer or the desk there. She said something about, she goes, "Okay, young man, you can step up here. And what's your name?" And of course, I hear this, well, Dale Earnhardt Jr., just very shy. I can remember looking out the door and I saw a dually trailer. You know, it wasn't even it wasn't a Featherlight. It said Kerry, Kelly, and Junior on it. And I think back to that time. And of course, you know, on race day, trust me, the whole crew showed up on race day. Dad made sure they were all there. But I felt a lot of heartfelt stuff that I saw in that interview yesterday that I don't think that I've personally seen come from Dale Jr. I think he was extremely grateful for Rick Hendricks. I think Rick Hendricks, you know, from the time that his father passed away, Rick Hendricks was the very best thing that has happened to him. And then, of course, you know, Amy coming into his life and getting married, I've also seen another additional change to that. So I guess I can understand it a little bit. I mean, you're talking about a young man who's been around racing probably since the day he was born. And that's a long time. And, you know, so going out and doing the other things that he wants to do with his life, I guess he's definitely earned that.
Well, there are a few things that I took from that. And you're right. Rick Hendrick, it seemed like, basically stepped in as sort of the father figure for Dale, and was able to be that for him. Dale has matured in so many ways over the years. And, you know, I mentioned in my column that I wrote about this on Race Chaser Online today that we forget sometimes there are people underneath the helmets, and these people feel things, and they have emotions. And Dale has gone through so much in his racing career and has carried so much weight and so much pressure, and he's weathered that, in my opinion, extremely well. He's very humble. He's now at a point in his life where he's really at peace with where he's at. And I feel like there are a few things, Rod, that we can take from this as we think about drivers coming up through the ranks. He talked a little bit yesterday about this. He talked about drivers like, and he used Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney as examples. He talked about how they're so strong with social media and so interactive with their fans and so accessible and approachable. And there are many young drivers that we know that fit that bill, and it's a different era now. And I feel like if the fans will just give these kids a chance and get to know them and listen to them and pay attention to them and really get to know who they are, I think the sport's going to be fine. I don't remember a time in the sport when we've ever had this much young talent who's legitimately talented. And people say, well, they all buy the rides. Well, yeah, it's a different sport now. You have to have those sponsors are a part of it now. But they're really talented racers. And just like the two kids that you had on earlier, this is where it starts. And I think the lessons we take from this are you have to be branding yourself from a very young age. You have to be attentive and interactive to your fan base. You can't just put a few posts out there on social media and call it good. You've got to be in the midst of all of that. But the other thing is you've got to be really humble and be willing to listen and learn from those who are trying to teach you and develop you. Junior had all those things, but maybe the one part that he didn't have in the beginning was the humility as much. And he alluded to that, he said back in the day, I probably ran more people out of the shop with my mouth than I did encourage them. And now he's doing the opposite. He's the guy that rallies the team. So there's a lot of lessons here. He's very much an advocate for the younger talent. And I think they can learn a lot from how Junior carries himself now as to how should I be, how should I act, and how should I carry myself as I'm coming up through the ranks. It's going to be a big loss. His fan base has got to go somewhere. It's going to be interesting to see where that shift winds up being, because I think there are several young drivers, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, just a few, that may pick up some of Junior Nation here going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're going to have to go to a short break here, but just one real quick thing. I can remember a few years ago, I was showing people two different pictures from 2 different years, and both of them were pictures from the front straightaway at Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah.
And when I showed them the first picture, I said, show me or tell me what you see. And the person said, well, I see a bunch of red. And I said, okay, great. In this picture, what do you see? And they said, well, I see a bunch of green. I said, you do understand these pictures are only a year apart, and the difference is a Budweiser sponsor and a Mountain Dew sponsor. But it was evident there. So I'll tell you what, we're going to have to take a quick break. We're going to be coming back, and we're going to have Tom's going to stay with us, and we're going to be bringing on young Nate Jenkins from up in Michigan. So everybody will be right back with you.
The Edge, Fridays at noon. If you're an entrepreneur looking for cutting-edge information, tips, tricks, secrets, expert interviews, it's all here at The Edge. Anything you need to build your business, this is the show to listen to. It's The Edge. Check us out Fridays at noon.
Ever need a doctor after hours? Well, searching won't help. But what do? You could go to the urgent care or ER, but if only there was a better way. Introducing the MNO Plus card. No waiting rooms, no copay, no consultation fee, giving you 24/7 access to a doctor by phone or online. It's easy to get started with affordable plans starting at $15 a month for a family of 5. For more information, visit mnoplus.com today.
81% of consumers search online before even setting foot in a store. We help you create a strong foundation for your digital reputation. We help build your online presence to improve search engine rank and make sure your business information is correct across the web. You could do all of this on your own, but why would you spend more than 300 hours a year working on this? You have a business to run. Save time and put our software to work for you.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You know, Tom and I could have probably spent that whole show just talking about Dale Jr. and the big announcement yesterday, but you know what? We'll get through this. For race fans that are out there that are upset, I saw a lot of that on social media yesterday, and you know what? Be happy for Dale Jr. that he's been able to make a decision like he said on his terms. We support him, but the sport has to go on. And as Tom alluded to towards the end of that segment, that there's so much young talent. I mean, I've been a race fan for 40 plus years, and I've never seen the amount of young talent that's actually in our sport right now at the higher levels. And then we have all of these young kids that are out there that, again, like the young Dumas brother, you know, starting to race at the age of 6. They're all over there. So right now, though, we're going to go out. We're going to pick Tom up, and we're going to go up to Sparta, Michigan. I'm sorry, to young Nate Jenkins. Hey, Nate, how are you doing tonight?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you are located in, is it Sparta, Michigan?
I live in Eden Rapids, Michigan, but I race over in Mason, Michigan at Spartan Speedway.
At Spartan Speedway, okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what kind of cars that you're running. And
I'm 16 years old. I'm a sophomore in high school. I drive a late model stock car, as most people would know it as. I drive in the Spartan stock class, which is a class which you would drive in. You'd go to the track, you'd qualify in a one-way brung rule set, and based on your times, you would get put into one of 3 groups: the A, B, or C. The A's are mostly late models, and they have around 13-second times. And I run in the B class with my other races, and I run about 14-second times.
very cool. Well, I'll tell you one thing. You got the coolest backdrop of anybody that we've Skyped into the call so far. Is that the hood off your race car?
This is the hood off my race car from last year. I've got the Fast Wax stickers on it. We this year we just painted the car the other day at night, and we painted the same color. We've got stickers on it. We're putting stickers on it tonight, right?
Well, very cool. So let me make sure I got this right. Then I'm going to have Tom ask you a couple of questions. I guess your first practice was last week?
Yeah, I had a practice last week, Saturday, and it was a Sunday practice. I did not attend because we were happy with what happened on Saturday. Sorry.
So how was your car? Your car was good then, huh?
It was good. It was good. It rotated really well, and we were really happy with it.
Well, excellent. And then I guess the first race is this Saturday night?
It's this Friday night.
Friday night. Okay. I love that. Old Friday night racing. Well, below you in the screen is Tom Baker. And Tom, I don't know if you know it, Nate, but Tom's with Race Chaser Online. And that I know of, Tom is more connected with young drivers across this country than any person that I know. So, Tom, I'm sure you got some great questions to be able to talk to Nate about.
Well, I'm curious, Nate, first of all, about what your background is, and then second of all, what you're looking forward to as far as the future. What are your plans for the rest of this season and going into 18? What are your goals?
Well, Nate, I don't know if you could hear Tom, but Tom basically asked if you could share with the viewing audience your background, where you got started at. I know you did a lot of Bandolero racing. And then what is your goals moving forward for the rest of 2017? And then where do you hope to be in 2018?
I started out racing when I was around 9 years old in a old dirt cart in Owasso. We raced in Owasso.
Nice.
Didn't do too well. We didn't really know much about kart racing. My brothers had raced, but they'd raced bigger cars, and so I didn't do too well. We ran after the dirt cart. We ran an asphalt cart on a road course for 2 seasons. We ended up quitting that though, and we with time problems, and I was getting a little old for kart racing. And then we went to Bandoleros, and that was a nice experience with the bandos. I raced at Spartan. I ran bandos for 2 years. In the first season, I got 4th in points. I won one heat race, or more than one heat race, couple heat races, and I'd placed on podium in many races in many features. And then in the second season of Bandoleros, I won 7 races in the Bandolero features. I won championship that year, and that's the year I picked up Fast Wax as my sponsor, my main sponsor.
Excellent.
And then after the championship year in the Bandolero, we moved to ABC because I aged out of the Bandoleros. This last season was a great season. We ran a lot of races. I won 3 of those races, feature races, and I won a couple of heat races along with that. It was a good season. We had a good run. We ended up, was it third in points, fifth in points. Rookie, and we ended up winning Rookie of the Year too. In the season. Oh, go ahead.
So let me ask you something, Nate. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? What's your goals?
CRA maybe. If I can get up. If I can CRA or NASCAR.
CRA or NASCAR? Okay, those are pretty big goals. So Tom, I know for viewers of that, you know what, we Skype these drivers in, and every once in a while you have a little bit of disconnect. So I'm not sure that Nate can hear Tom. So I'm going to be the relay guy. I always wanted to be on a relay team, Tom. So this is my opportunity now, is for you to be able to talk to me, and then I can relay the message. It won't be like one of those parties though that where you pass the message around the room, and then when it comes back to you, you're like, I don't even know. That's not even close to the question. So you let me know what questions you have for Nate, and I'm gonna ask him on your behalf.
Well, I'd be curious what Nate feels like makes him or his race team marketable, and what he would be looking at in terms of the whole sponsorship picture, and who his other sponsors are right now.
Yeah, what Tom was asking was, how do you see yourself as a spokesperson for sponsors, and do you have anybody else that you're really trying to get into sponsorship? Because as we know, as we covered with our 2 first guests in here, that racing is a lot more than just steering the car around the track. You got to be marketable. You got to be able to represent your sponsors well. And so do you have any thoughts with that, or anything, again, that maybe you could share with some of the younger drivers that are out there at that 5- and 6-year-old age, and kind of like, how'd you get Fast Wax?
I got Fast Wax from a good friend of ours named Andy Camisar. She was a PR rep for us. She acted as that, and she went out and reached out to Fast Wax, and they gave us a good sponsorship that in the first year, our second year in Bandos. And some advice I could give you is just reach out to a lot of people, even if you didn't think you can get it. Reach out, because you never know what would happen if you ask.
That's right. The one thing we have to know about, you got to ask, because you ain't ever going to get anything if you're not willing to go out and ask. So, well, Nate, I'll tell you what, we're just about ready to end this segment. Best of luck this year. Make sure you keep in contact with us. I think you've got our email addresses and stuff. Let us know how you're doing, and let us know if there's anything at all that we can help you with from our Raceface brand development side. I mean, that's what we're all about. Tom and I are out there really trying to help young drivers become very brandable. So if you need any help with that, reach out to us. And like I said, good luck Friday night. Go out and win that first race. Okay, thanks for being with us tonight, Nate.
You're welcome.
Well, Tom, there you have it.
Yep.
Very interesting. You hear a lot of these young drivers out there, I don't know, there's tens of thousands of them all over the country.
Oh, yeah.
All trying to get to the same place. So to kind of wrap up the show tonight, Tom, what do you think that young drivers can do to help actually start to build their brand so that they can get noticed and they can get that sponsorship? Because, you know, if they get the sponsorship, that will be the biggest relief off of mom and dad's shoulders of probably anything that they
Yeah.
can do.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you've got to put some time into the marketing side. You can't just run races and work on the race car and have that be enough anymore. You've got to be very interactive on your social media and really put some time into that and build that. And I think that you have to make sure that you have a nice looking website, and you have to have a professionally prepared marketing kit and a regular program of content going out across social media. And, you know, really the better that you look as a marketing entity, not necessarily just a race team, but as a marketing entity, the more attractive you're going to be to the sponsors. And the other thing that I mentioned to somebody the other day that we don't always think about is how your race car actually looks. If you've just got a plain black car with a red number on it that you can hardly read from the front straightaway when you're on the back straightaway, you know, that's not going to be very attractive. So you always want to make sure that your car and your crew, the appearance of all of that at the racetrack and in photos, everything that you do has to look nice in order for a company to invest with you, because it's really not a sponsorship, Rod, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. It's a partnership. It's a business deal. And so the reason why companies like us at Raceface exist is because it gives us an opportunity to teach these young drivers what it means to have a business deal and what the business side of the sport's about, and help them learn to be more brand aware and brand attractive to these companies. They're out there. They're hard to get, but they're there. But you've really got to be on your best in all ways in order to have that opportunity.
Absolutely. Great advice, Tom. Thanks again for joining us tonight. There you heard
Thank
it
you.
from one of the premier guys in the sports, young drivers, as far as working with drivers, getting them branded, getting them sponsorships and everything like that. So again, I want to thank you guys. Thanks to our guest, our Dumas brothers. Thanks for Nate Jenkins. And again, Tom Baker, thank you for joining us. Remember, Raceface TV every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. on MNOTV.com, MNOTV.com. Don't forget to go to our Facebook page, like our page, and share it. Become a part of the Diecast Car of the Week Club. We'll see you back here next Wednesday night. Until then, have a great day.